What's going on, everybody? It's Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and you're tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB Podcast Series, where information is the new money. And my entrepreneurs and business owners can relate to this, those profit and loss statements. We got to keep track of the income that's being generated and the revenue that's coming in and the expenses that are going out on a regular basis to keep your business operating and your entrepreneurship journey afloat. Which is why we got to show love to those accountants, y'all, because they help keep all those things in order. Which is why yours truly, Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, currently recommends Strong Elm Business Solutions. I'm telling you, are you ready to elevate your business? Check out Strong Elm Business Solutions, your partner in growth and success. They specialize in tailored strategies that drive results, y'all, whether it's enhancing your chart of accounts, optimizing workflows, or providing top-notch business advice. Man, that came in handy for me getting my overall finances in order because Strong Elm Business Solutions are dedicated to empowering small and medium-sized enterprises with the tools they need to thrive in today's competitive market. From startup budgets to payroll and bookkeeping, Strong Elm Business Solutions are here to help. I'm telling you. Visit Strong Elm Business Solutions at strongelm.com and discover why they can help you achieve your business goals. Strong Elm Business Solutions are empowering strong clients for a stronger future. Yours truly, Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, will definitely attest to that, which is why you need to visit strongelm.com and give Strong Elm Business Solutions a call at 361-944-0122. That's 361-944-0122. You won't be disappointed on that. My name is Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and I approve this message. Y'all stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, peace, love, and positive vibrations. All right, all right. What is going on, everybody? If you don't know, now you do know. You're officially tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB Podcast Series. This is your host, Clifton Pope. And guess what, y'all? The return of the Wellness Whisperer series is officially here. And it's been a while, been dealing with a lot of life situations, still handling, of course, everything with health, fitness, wealth, business. I've been doing podcast interviews nonstop, it seems like, the last few weeks or so I haven't had a chance to really focus on the Wellness Whisperer series. As you can tell, if you've been paying attention, I've been putting out like at least 2 or 3 interviews a week because of all the podcast interviews I'm doing. But it's great because it's great exposure for the HFWB Podcast Series, and it's great exposure for every guest that I bring on, providing them the opportunity to, of course, provide information, knowledge, and resources on how you, the audience, you, the people, can continue to become the best version of yourself that you could be on a regular basis. Because the HFWB Podcast Series is for you, the people. So I would like to take a moment to thank you for continuing to take time out of your productive schedules, wherever you may be, however you may be listening, whether you're watching it on YouTube, whether you're listening to it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. I want to thank you, the audience, you, the people, for helping the HFWB Podcast Series grow every single day, every single time. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to stream every episode of the HFWB Podcast Series. Be sure to download and share every single podcast series for the HFWB Podcast Series with your friends, your family, your business partners, your associates, whoever you love, care about, and who supports you, and vice versa the most. Share the HFWB Podcast Series with them, because information is the new money. And the more informed we are based off of education, experience, and going through daily life situations, the more it allows us to grow through what we go through, find room for improvement, learn from our mistakes, and at the same time, evolve from a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual standpoint. Which leads me into the first topic that I wanted to talk about in particular today. I want to take it back to where it all started from the return of the Wellness Whisperer series. As far as you know, my first book that I have, What's Wealth Without Work, that you can get now on Amazon.com for those listening outside of Corpus Christi, Texas, or for those listening in Corpus Christi, Texas, you can get your copy at Black Cat Bookstores, 1316 South Staple Street, located here in Corpus Christi, Texas. But anyways, I want to talk about, health is wealth. At the end of the day, you can't have one without the other, right? They're two sides of the coin, but health, it goes beyond just the physical realm. It goes into the mental, it goes into the emotional, and it goes into the spiritual realm. And at the end of the day, we have to find ways on how we can continue to improve our overall well-being, because no one is going to take care of ourselves but ourselves. At the end of the day, we always get caught up in chasing the next paycheck, right? For those who are working a job, the next form of business success, as far as, getting that, for instance, chasing after some sort of target goal that you're going after within your business, trying to maintain certain numbers and hit certain numbers to where you can exceed expectations and everything. We're always chasing the destination, right? But at the same time, we need to focus on the journey. We need to focus on the milestone achievements, the stepping stones, because that's what makes the journey to the destination much more fulfilling at the end of the day. And at the same time, I get it. We're so concerned with our security of our home, security of our job, security of our business, security of our family, our finances, all of those things. But you want to know something that I've noticed and that you may not have noticed? The more we tend to focus and zone in and chase after our some form of success, whatever that may be for the listeners, we neglect ourselves in the process. We forget to take care of our number one investment, which is ourselves, which is why I would like to say we need to invest in our health. We need to dedicate at least the first hour or two towards some sort of self-care ritual that will help you get in peace with yourself, right? That way you can go to battle with the world, because a lot of people want to be at peace with the world, but going to war with themselves. No. It's like the late, great Nipsey Hussle said, you have to be at peace with yourself. That way you can go to war with the world versus going to war with yourself and being at peace with the world. So we have to maintain some form of peace within ourselves, whether it's, dedicating, your morning to starting off by a moment of silence, being like prayer and meditation, for example, or saying some positive affirmations, visualizing how your day is going to go within the form of prayer and meditation. You got to get some sort of exercise in, right? Because that's when your cortisol levels are at the highest peak, which is between the time frame of 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Because if you notice, whenever the sun rises up, it sparks the cortisol levels within your body that allows you to rise up with the sun, right? That's why there's such thing as sunrise. You rise with the sun, hence your cortisol levels are at its highest peak in the morning, which means it's preferably a better time to probably get some form of exercise in, whether it's a 30-minute, weightlifting session, go for like a morning walk, a morning run, get some sort of moderate the intense physical activity to get your day started on the right track. All it takes is 30 minutes, y'all. We all have 24 hours. You can dedicate 30 minutes out of those 24 hours towards some quick form of exercise. You don't got to work out for like 2 hours and go full Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, if you know what I mean. You could just get you a quick little 30-minute exercise. And matter of fact, not even 30 minutes. You can get you a quick little 10 to 15 minute quick boost of an exercise. You know how many videos there are on YouTube to where they have certain online fitness trainers doing literal workout videos to where you can knock that out rather quickly and move on with your day. I'm just saying, if I can do it, so can you. But at the same time, just focusing on moment of silence, prayer and meditation, affirmations, visualizations, exercise, reading a book, read a book to get your brain going a little bit. It helps wake up your mind a little bit, do a little mental gymnastics. And at the same time, definitely invest in a journal. You can literally go buy a journal at Walmart for not even $1 or $2. Get you a pack of pens and write down your thoughts, your emotions, how you feel. That way it helps you express how the previous day went, what you plan on accomplishing for the current day, and what you plan on accomplishing down the road in the form of writing down weekly goals, monthly goals, yearly goals, and so on and so forth. Create a short-term plan and a long-term plan, and at the same time having a backup plan for your short-term and long-term plan, because you never know, that might come in handy, if you know what I mean. And I'm going to go into all of these things because I give credit to Al Harad, The Miracle Morning. I definitely recommend everybody who's listening to the HFWB Podcast Series to buy that book, because it talks about the Sabers method that I just described. And don't you worry, I'm going to do a series on how that's impacted me personally down the road. If not by the end of 2024, we're definitely going to kick off 2025 with it. You heard it here first as an exclusive announcement. My point being is this: health is wealth. We're worried about our career. We're worried about chasing the next form of success. We're worrying about, establishing security within our home, our job, our money, our family. We need to take care of ourselves every now and then. I'm not saying go full-blown selfish, but at least be in tune with your star player. If you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself in the mirror first and make that change, right? Rest in peace, Michael Jackson, for giving some of the most inspiring lyrics of all time with the song Man in the Mirror, which is what I just referenced. But I figured I'd throw that out there as I kick off, the What's Wealth Without Work series on the HFWB Podcast Series. And for those who basically haven't purchased What's Wealth Without Work, I basically just described a little bit of the first chapter that I wrote, which is health versus wealth, So definitely get a copy of that. That way you can understand a little bit more in context what I'm talking about, because I'm not going to go into full details on it, because I want y'all to buy the book yourself. That way you can see that I define health, I define wealth, and basically show how they correlate with each other. But I wanted to touch on something rather quickly before I move forward. Family matters. And nobody wins when the family feuds. That is something that I've definitely been going through myself from a personal standpoint alone this week. Butting heads, with your mom, butting heads with your dad. And at the end of the day, family may not agree on every single little thing, but there are certain times to where, lines can be crossed. And sometimes you have to take a step back and realize, oh, wow, this really just happened. So I want to give a special shout out to my mom, and I want to give a special shout out to my dad, especially my mom, because, I'll be honest with y'all for those listening to this particular episode of the HFWB Podcast Series. My mom and I have not been on speaking terms for the last 3 days because of us getting into a big argument. And I was filled with so much anger, filled with so much rage, but I had to go back a little bit to the book of instruction a little bit, which is honor thy mother and honor thy father. I had to go back to that, and I had to take a step back. So by the time this episode in particular comes out, I probably will be back on speaking terms with my mom and my dad. Well, more so my mom than my dad, because I've kind of squashed the issue that I had with my dad. It's just my mom who I'm slowly but surely working on. So if you're listening to this, Mom, I love you always and forever with all of my heart. And I hope that I can be forgiven for the mistakes that I've made. And at the end of the day, for those who are listening, as much as I want to be right in the most recent argument and fight and dispute that we had, Mama knows best at the end of the day. That will never fail. So I want to dedicate this portion of the HFWB podcast series just to give y'all a friendly reminder that, number one, family matters. Number two, always honor your mother and father, even though you may not be on the best of terms with them. You may not agree. You may not agree with everything that they do or they say, and you may even disagree with some of the things they do or they say. But at the end of the day, you got to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. Because one thing about your mom and your dad, you're going to learn what to do and what not to do. Because at the end of the day, experience is the best teacher. So you can benefit off of the experiences they went through and kind of sprinkle it onto your own journey of whatever you're going through without the course of your life. And honestly, that's just the truth at the end of the day when it comes to that. You know, nobody wins when the family feuds. Family matters every single time. And I'm not talking about the TV show with Steve Urkel and all that. Family truly matters. Honor thy mother and father, no matter how much you may fight with them, agree to disagree, all of those things, because they're the ones who brought you into this world with a combination of the Heavenly Father, the Almighty God. Never forget that. And at the end of the day, nobody wins when the family feuds. And to be completely honest, that's the overall truth. You know, this is me just communicating this message to you. This is me expressing my overall self, what I've been going through as far as from a personal standpoint. And at the end of the day, I'm just tuning into the voice that has already been found and speaking my overall truth, which is an interesting segue, because if you've been following the Wellness Whisperer series, I've been basically breaking down the chakra system. And boy, I tell you, I've had to get my own chakra system in alignment based off of everything that's been going on from a personal standpoint just this week alone. So I'm definitely practicing what I preach. You know, I definitely have to tune into quote unquote my heart chakra. You know, I had to tune back into the love, the compassion, the empathy, and the understanding of not only myself, but being able to spread that amongst other people as well, which is where we left off with the last episode of the Wellness Whisperer series when I broke down the heart chakra. I had to practice what I preach just this week alone. I had to tap back into the peace, the love, the positive vibrations. You get what I'm saying and where I'm going with this, right? So now I want to cover the throat chakra. Basically, if you're not familiar with the throat chakra, it's basically right around where your throat is, obviously. The color of the throat chakra is blue, which is a powerful color because it symbolizes communication. It symbolizes expression, self-expression, that is, and it symbolizes the power of truth, finding your voice, speaking your truth. That's basically what the color blue symbolizes as far as from a chakra standpoint. Of course, you know, you got the element of space, ether, space, and everything, because it's basically the most important element out of the 5 elements because it's both nothing and everything. I mean, it's basically the space where the consciousness within yourself, the spirit of God, arises, and it's literally becomes the core of the mind, the body, and the overall spirit, which basically has no form and it basically can't be contained. And it shows you because, you know, the element of ether, space, it's represented in the body in many ways within your sinus, your lungs, your stomach. It's the space between the organs of the body, and the vibrations in these spaces are basically what makes up the ether element to begin with. So it's basically literally nothing and everything as far as from the element that the throat chakra represents. But honestly, when you have a balanced throat chakra, you can communicate clearly and honestly. When it's not in balance, you basically have throat issues, thyroid issues. You have difficulties expressing yourself. You tend to be a little bit more shy. And I'm not going to lie, I could relate to the throat chakra tremendously because there are moments and times to where I have trouble expressing myself, to where my throat chakra is a little bit blocked. There's times where I'm a little bit shy, especially when I'm in a room with people who I'm not comfortable with or don't know very well. I tend to kind of just sit back and become an observer and don't say much and speak unless I'm spoken to. And that's kind of a little bit of the throat chakra being a little bit imbalanced on my part. But once I get more comfortable with the individual and I get to know them for who they are, what they represent, what they stand for, their values, beliefs, all those things, that's when I unlock my throat chakra to where I can communicate more clearly with them and more honestly with them, because I feel more comfortable, because we build that certain level of trust, respect, all those things that kind of factor into place. Now, there's plenty of ways you can unlock your throat chakra. There's many ways you can do that. A good way to unlock your throat chakra, for instance, from a yoga standpoint, you could do things like the cat-cow pose. That's a very popular way to do it. You could do things like, the cobra pose. That's a good way to unlock your throat chakra for all my yogis who are listening to the HFWB Podcast Series. Y'all can definitely relate to that. But honestly, the best way you can really tap into your throat chakra, or some of the best ways you can tap into it, eat you some blue-related food from a nutrition standpoint. For example, eat you a handful of blueberries, y'all. That will literally unlock your throat chakra from a nutrition standpoint. Eating you some blueberries, for example. Another way you could tap into the throat chakra is from a frequency standpoint. For those who listen to the HFWB podcast series, I'm a firm believer of God being three things. God is love, God is spirit, and God is frequency. So to tap into the frequency aspect of your throat chakra, I want everyone who's listening right now to write down this HZ frequency. It is 741 HZ frequency. That is 741 HZ frequency. You could literally put that in on YouTube. You could find that frequency. I want you to, when you're doing your moment of silence, I want you to meditate to that certain frequency. And I want you to tell yourself these three affirmations I'm about to say, which is, I speak and hear the truth. The truth shall set me free. I am open and honest in my communication. Again, I'm going to say that again. I speak and hear the truth. The truth shall set me free. I am open and honest in my communication. You say those three affirmations to yourself, within your mind, while you listen to the 741 HZ frequency that you could find on YouTube, and just sit there in a calm, cool, relaxed, collective meditative state, sitting nice, tall, and upright, focusing on the power of your breath, breathing in through your nose, expanding your stomach and your abdomen region, holding your breath for 3 to 5 seconds with a slow, calm exhale for 3 to 5 seconds, listening to the 741 HZ frequency and tapping into those three affirmations. I speak and hear the truth. The truth shall set me free. I am open and honest in my communication. You are well on track to basically unlocking your throat chakra and basically communicating more clearly and honestly, not only within yourself, but to other individuals as well. So definitely remember that. That way we can overcome the throat issues. That way we can overcome the difficulty of expressing yourself, because you too have something to say and you too have a message that you want to get across. And at the end of the day, that's how you're going to seek to be understood once you understand where the person you're trying to get in connection with and contact with is coming from at the end of the day. So I kind of wanted to share that real quick as far as, the throat chakra standpoint. And I wanted to kind of shift gears a little bit quickly and pick up from a scripture standpoint. For those who have been listening to the Wellness Whisperer series on the HFWB podcast series, we were basically spending the few of the episodes covering the book of Genesis from the Holy Bible, because I am still on a mission of reading the entire Bible from start to finish. I'm actually on the book of Psalms right now, which is just impactful within itself. But I wanted to scale back a little bit, and I want to take it to the book of Exodus, which is basically the second book of the Bible, and it's part of the Old Testament, excuse me. And it basically tells the story of how the Israelites escaped from slavery in Egypt under the leadership of Moses and everything. And before I get into the impact that Moses got into with as far as within Exodus and everything, which we're definitely going to get into as, of course, the Wellness Whisperer series continues, I want to focus on the slavery and the oppression standpoint, because there's so many parallels you can draw with just that alone. Because if you're not familiar with what happens in Exodus, the Israelites are basically enslaved by the Egyptians, who impose harsh labor upon them. So basically, slavery and oppression has been quite a thing for quite some time, even dating back to the Old Testament in the Bible, dating back all the way to Exodus, where the Israelites were basically enslaved by the Egyptians and everything. And you want to know what's so crazy about that? Slavery hasn't even gone away in 2024 going into 2025, because we may not be dealing with physical slavery anymore, but there's no telling that may possibly change with everything that happened, with the current presidential election, with Project 2025 looming over our heads. But I will say this, though, that we are dealing with a form of mental slavery at the end of the day. Slavery is still alive. They're just concealing it. And they're concealing it from a mental aspect, an emotional aspect, and definitely a spiritual aspect. We may not be in balls and chains like they were in the civil rights movement days or back in the 1800s and all that stuff, but mental slavery is definitely alive. That's for sure. And you want to know why mental slavery is still alive? It's simple, because you are your own worst critic. Yes, I said that. You are your own worst critic. And I was actually looking into an interesting article written by Steve Gilman, where he kind of breaks this down a little bit. It's like, you certainly can be justified in wanting to tell this person to shut up, understandably. You probably wouldn't want to be around them willingly or consider them to be nice, yet many of us allow our own minds to treat us like this or worse every day without thinking anything of it. At the end of the day, we could free ourselves from this mental slavery in many, many ways, because here's a couple of ways that we can break free from this mental slavery. And I could spend pretty much a whole hour talking about each of these. So I'm going to just talk about a couple of these for now, and then we'll break down the ways on how you can free yourself from mental slavery in future episodes within the Wellness Whisperer series. We need to challenge our own thinking, right? We need to use the reasoning power that we have within us, because we are all powerful beings, because we got the power of the universe and the power of the Holy Spirit working within us at the end of the day. Now, we need to use this reasoning power within us against itself to make logical arguments, y'all, not based off of, emotions or anything like that, using a little bit of logic and basically using that reasoning power against itself to make logical arguments for opposing beliefs and opposing theories. As in other words, you need to be honest with yourself and recognize your own bias. You basically need to pay attention to your thoughts, because I tell you, your thoughts are something else if you let them run wild and run loose and let them control every aspect of your overall being. You need to learn to observe your mind by developing self-awareness and self-consciousness. Hence, we need to remove ourselves from our thoughts, emotions, and our overall ego, and we need to realize the present moment is the greatest gift that you can ever experience. And you need to challenge your assumptions and their origins. You need to figure out, where are these thoughts coming from to begin with? Why do they keep coming coming about, and you have to rewire your overall thinking structure to where you can overcome that at the end of the day. You got to challenge those assumptions, y'all, and you got to challenge those origins within those assumptions. You got to be willing to see how conditioned you might be. You got to start with a desire for the truth, tracing back to the throat chakra at the end of the day. No matter what it might be, as like I just said, meditation, mindfulness practice, like going for morning walks, grounding yourself, getting in tune with the mental clarity of yourself, that is the way that you can overcome your challenges with your overall thinking and basically increase your awareness and paying attention to your overall thoughts. Hence, you can break yourself free from this mental slavery you may be going through. And at the same time, think more clearly and go beyond the mental slavery that's keeping you trapped within your own mind. You don't want to be a prisoner to your own mind. You don't want to be a prisoner to your own thoughts, emotions, because it will come back to bite you in the ass at the end of the day. And honestly, I feel like we can relate to that as far as, channeling our inner Israelites. And I'm pretty sure that's what they were going through within the slavery and the oppression, of being enslaved by the Egyptians at the end of the day. So that would work out tremendously at the end of the day, as far as just showing how we can overcome the slavery and oppression that we're going through here in 2024, hence drawing that parallel of what the Israelites were going through, being enslaved by the Egyptians, of course, from overall the book of Exodus, from the Holy Bible in the second book of the Old Testament. So at the end of the day, this kind of leads into basically my healing quote of this particular episode to close out the Wellness Whisperers series. And it's really quite simple. It's a really, really good quote that I literally just found right now. The soul always knows how to heal itself. The soul always knows how to heal itself. I had to say that twice for the people in the back. You want to know how you know how the soul is able to heal itself? Because you got to silence the mind. And it kind of goes back to what I was just talking about as far as from a mental slavery standpoint. You have to break free. You have to think clearly. That way you could go beyond the mental slavery that's keeping you trapped. And you got to realize that the soul itself is such a powerful entity within itself that it literally heals itself. And the best way you could tap into that, y'all, just silence the mind. Remove yourself from your thoughts, your emotions, your ego, and realize that the present moment is all you have and that you're complete from within at the end of the day. So that's my quick episode right now of the return of the Wellness Whisperers series for the HFWB Podcast Series. And I figured I'd end this particular episode on that particular note. And also I want to make a couple of announcements, y'all. My new book is officially out on Amazon.com with my new book, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. I urge everybody to go and get that copy right now. And at the same time, buy a copy of What's Wealth Without Work and Dollar and a Vision, the first two books of this 3-book trilogy of personal development, self-help that I've been doing. And at the same time, go get your copy of Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. That's available on Amazon.com. And at the same time, for those who are listening in Corpus Christi, Texas, by the time this episode comes out, my book signing will probably already pass at Black Cat Bookstores, where I will be hosting a book signing on November the 16th, 2024, which will be tomorrow's date. And today is November the 15th, 2024, in which I'm recording this particular episode of the HFWB Podcast Series. So if you're barely listening to this episode and you missed out on the book signing for November 16th, 2024, have no fear, because Black Cat Bookstore knows that I will be right back and come right back around here as at the end of the day, because December the 21st, 2024, December the 21st, 2024, I will be doing a second book signing for my newest book, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. And at the end of the day, This book is for those who are basically lacking any form of consistency in whatever they may be doing within the course of their life, and showing how they can remain committed and they can build more consistency with their skills, their gifts, their talents. That way they can become better versions of themselves, cashing in on the opportunity that's in front of them based on the vision that they see within themselves. That way they can bring that to reality at the end of the day. So get my new book, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency, available on Amazon.com. And it will be available at Black Cat bookstores once I do my first of 2 book signings. The first book signing, November 16th, 2024. And if you're listening to this episode after that date passed, don't worry. I'll be doing a second book signing on December the 21st, 2024 at Black Cat bookstores. That way I can give people an opportunity to get this book as 2024 comes to a close. And as we go into 2025, we're going to need a whole lot more commitment, a whole lot more consistency, a whole lot more of a sense of urgency. And we're really going to have to dig into what's important and what's not important, and what's urgent and what's not urgent. And we need to utilize our time wisely. That's all I'm going to say on that. I thank y'all for tuning in to another edition of the HFWB Podcast Series. Make sure you hit that follow and subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, because the HFWB Podcast Series is for you, the people. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business. That's 1 S in the business, 8726. So that's Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business with 1 S, 8726, official YouTube channel for HFWB. Hit that subscribe button. That way we can grow the community and build more unity. Follow me on Facebook at my name, Clifton Pope, or Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business. Follow me on Instagram at cpope, all lowercase, cpope, CPOPE _44. Follow me on TikTok at Health F Wealth B, all lowercase, Health, the letter F, Wealth, the letter B, .cp. Follow me on TikTok. Check out my website, even though it's going through some maintenance work right now, but it'll be back up and running very soon. healthfitnesswealthbusiness.com/CP. Y'all check out the website. And yeah, man, just continue to tap into the overall journey of health, fitness, wealth, business as we're growing one day at a time, one step at a time. I thank y'all once again, wherever you may be, however you may be listening to this particular episode of the HFWB Podcast Series. This is your host, Clifton Pope, and I encourage everybody, as always, to stay healthy, wealthy, and blessed. And until next time, peace, love, and positive vibrations. What's going on, everybody? It's yours truly, Clifton Pope with Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and you're tuned into a very special edition of the HFWB Podcast Series, and it's being brought to you by my new book that just released on Amazon.com, October 30th, 2024, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. And this is basically the trilogy to my first 2 self-help books, What's Wealth Without Work and A Dollar and a Vision, which are both also on Amazon as we speak. And basically, Consistency with a Sense of Urgency is all about how to overcome the lack of consistency and the truth on what is stopping you from putting in the work to create your own formula to success. We've all been there before, which is why I'm trying to help expose the cracks on where everyone is at when it comes to people who are having hard times staying the course. Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. This book is for those who truly want to stay after it in what they love and what they stand for by cracking the code on how to remain ready by staying steady so you can even out the odds against you, right? This book will break down how to decide what is important and urgent in your own life at this very moment. The sense of urgency is on because time is money, or is it really? Consistency with a Sense of Urgency will focus on all the information, knowledge, and secrets of yours truly, Clifton Pope, and how you can complete your mission to discover your sense of purpose in the world we live in. Who wouldn't want to do that, right? Which is why I say we are all here for a reason. And Consistency with a Sense of Urgency will help you discover that for anyone who needs a personal guide on how to do so. This is the book for those who are finally ready to quit making excuses and tackle your goals and or to-do list once and for all, so growth, improvement, and evolution can take the course in your world for the greater good. So just like that, y'all need to hop on Amazon.com right here, right now, as we speak. Go order Consistency with a Sense of Urgency, my newest self-help book that I have personally self-published myself. Shout out to Amazon.com for that opportunity. Y'all stop what you're doing. Go buy Consistency with a Sense of Urgency. That way we can continue to remain consistent with a sense of urgency like never before. This is yours truly, Clifton Pope of Health, Fitness, Wealth, Business, and I approve this message. And go buy Consistency with a Sense of Urgency right here, right now. Let's make it an Amazon bestseller, a New York's bestseller, because this book is just for you. Let's remain consistent with a sense of urgency, y'all. Stay healthy, wealthy, blessed. Peace and love.